Hello to all my truck drivers. Yes, it is another late night, and as part of my late night, it's late because I just got done basically building out the whole analysis section of my live automation software. So I am celebrating right now, and as a part of the celebration, I wanted to share with you a couple of credit repair, dispute letter, credit sweep secrets. So that is what we are doing tonight. So if you are one of my truck drivers, please do not watch this. Just listen to the sound of my voice, all right? There's many people who do drive trucks that watch my videos. So we're going to rephrase that listen to my videos. So please make sure you are listening. And anywho, to everybody else, welcome. Tonight, again, we are celebrating because I have completed a huge really difficult section of my tool, my live automation, the best credit repair software dispute letter tool on the market. And because of that, with everything that has gone into it, I wanted to give you some secrets that you can take to the bank and start using tomorrow. So if you give me a couple minutes of your time, I'm going to give you a couple secrets that will change everything for you. And they're super simple. You do not have to take notes. You can just listen to what I'm about to say and start implementing it right now. Now, I will let you know, I did tag a couple of the things from my store down in the description. When you have a second, you can go check it out. They're going to also help you to implement the things that I'm about to tell you, okay? And there's also the other link to the credit repair course on steroids, but the atomic version, and that's the very first link in the description. So go check that out. Not now, but when we're done, all right? So here's the deal. We've been talking about all the things that people are doing wrong with their disputes and why you're not getting results. But tonight, we're just going to talk about things that you can do that are going to increase those credit scores, remove those negative items as quickly as possible without kind of going over the things that you are doing wrong, because you can make these changes really quick. So let's start with something really simple. I know that there's so many people out there that are telling you, and this is even companies, okay? They're telling you that you can only dispute a couple negative items at once, right? Like 3 or 5, but you have 10, 15, 20 negative items. How is that going to help you when 12 months down the road, you still haven't even disputed all of your negative items? And here's the thing. The reason that they tell you that you can only dispute a couple negative items is because we don't want it to come back as frivolous. No. They tell you this because they want to drag you on month after month, year after year. So if you are with one of those big companies, we're not going to name any names, okay? But if you're with one of those big companies or even the small ones that are telling you this, they're only trying to get more money out of your bank. That is all it's about. So if you want to keep that money in your bank, you need to know that you can dispute every single negative item on your credit report all at the same time, even in the same dispute letter. But there's a better way than putting all of your negative items in one letter. See, I'm about to give you the formula that I use, not only for my, quantity of negative items that go into a dispute letter, but also the way that a dispute letter is written, as well as a dispute reason, okay? Everything has a structure. You see, after doing this professionally for 12 years, 10 of which, virtually 10, have been here on YouTube, I've perfected the things that I do, right? I perfected my craft. If you spend a decade doing something or over a decade doing something and you didn't perfect it, then we have a problem, okay? So my results speak for themselves. I have an entire playlist that shows you the hundreds of score increases and deletions that I've gotten my clients, and that's just a minuscule part of it. So you can see that I don't spit good game. Look, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie, and mine prove that this method, the credit sweep method, the legal permanent, no police report method actually works, okay? So how many negative items should go on a dispute letter? Well, my magic number is 10. Why is it 10? Because we want to basically overwhelm and bog down the system, and hopefully maybe you're going to fall through the cracks and we're going to get more violations and we can go after those violations, right? So if you put 120 negative items in one dispute letter, I mean, yeah, you can do that, not a problem. Many people do. I've done it. Depends on what I'm disputing, like medical. I will put all of those babies right into one dispute letter, right? But if you have collections and charge-offs and student loans and bankruptcies and late payments, break it up so that you're sending out one letter on Monday, another letter on Tuesday, another letter on Wednesday. You want to keep those things going, okay? So that is the reason that we do that, okay? Another thing is that maybe they get letter 1, maybe they don't get letter 2. Maybe they get letter 3, but not letter 1 and 2. So these are the things that you need to consider when you are determining how many disputes to put in one letter. But again, my magic number for my clients, that it's just magical for me. It's 10 negative items in one letter. But again, feel free to put all of them there, all right? You can dispute every single negative item on your credit report all in one letter. So we have 10 items per letter. Now, how many dispute reasons should go per each account? Now, if you're anything like me, you'll look at a credit report and you're like, this is inaccurate, that's a violation. No, I've got 5 different things that I could dispute right now. But if you put all your eggs in one basket, what's gonna happen when the credit bureaus come back and they're like, nope, verified as accurate, you can't reuse a dispute reason. So if you already said not mine, just as an example, don't use that, but just an example, you already said not mine, you can't say not mine again. You already said date last paid. Unless you're using the EvolutionLine method, you can't reuse that dispute reason unless you have changed information, right? So you need to look at all of your available things to dispute on an account and find the best possible reason, the best possible dispute opportunity to use, and choose one. I don't care if you have 5, we need to just choose one, okay? That number 1 dispute reason should be an inaccuracy or a violation. So in your dispute letter, you know all of your accounts, but each of those accounts should only say one thing. Unless you are 1,000% sure, put my life on it, take my house if I'm wrong, that you are going to get that deletion from that letter. And you can never be that absolute confident about that. You see, when you use that dispute reason, if you use it again, now it is frivolous. And you might as well have just put everything on there. Just might as well not even write it in English. Who cares, right? Just put babble, accounts to dispute, all of the dispute reasons, your name. That's it, okay? So 10 items per letter, chop it up, send them out on different days, 1 dispute reason per account. Now, your dispute letter should literally just answer a couple of questions. What are you writing that letter for? Like, what? Why? What is the purpose? What are you trying to say? What do you want them to do? If your letter, in very concise, few sentences as possible, like 1, 2, or 3 sentences, does not tell them like that information, then your letter is too long. Unless you're using Oscar code dispute letters or Metro 2 challenges, those letters can be very, very long. Okay, so unless you are writing a letter like that, it should not be a fizzling pages. I should not have to turn the page if I printed out your letter, unless it's because you have all of your accounts and you have many, many accounts. Okay, so we're only using a couple of sentences to explain why and what we want them to do. I need you to investigate these negative items or these inaccurate or accounts in violation or whatever, and remove them from my credit report and send a new copy updated showing these results, okay? That's all you gotta do, that's all you gotta say. The magic, the key to the actual process is in the dispute reason itself. When you get a result, it's not, it's not because of that first paragraph or your 17 pages that you sent. It's because of the dispute reason. So what should your dispute reason look like? Now, I was only going to give you 3, But as you can see, we're going way more than 3. And again, in case you weren't here at the beginning, if you want all of the secrets, you want the A through Z, you want to go from 0 to hero, you want to know exactly what to say, when to say, with whom to say it, and you don't want to be doing this year after year or month after month or spend more than 6 months doing this, then check out everything down in the description, including that very first link. It'll take you to my Atomic Credit Repair course, okay? So back to this. Your dispute reason should be hella simple, okay? There should not be anything complicated, and do not put anything in your dispute reason that you cannot prove, okay? We're not just arbitrarily coming up with something. We're literally dealing with nothing but the facts. So do what an attorney would and only use the facts, but spin the facts to your advantage, right? An example of this would be, let's start with date last paid. So if you're looking at your credit report, let's say that you have a charge off that you want to remove, and it has 3 different dates under date last paid. If you don't know why the date last paid is important, I'm going to tell you right now. It's the date that starts that 7-year clock, right? So if you have 3 different dates, that account is naturally going to come off your credit report at 3 totally different times, whether that be days, months, or even years. So that's why normally with really difficult accounts or with things like charge-offs, I start with date last paid outside of blatant inaccuracies such as 3 different past dues, 3 different balances, or, etc., right? So you are going to state the creditor name, the account number. So example, Capital One account number 517805. You're going to put a hyphen, or you're just going to enter and go down to the next space. Then you're going to put your dispute reason, and this formula I created back in 2018 has gotten me nothing but results because you can plug in anything. Look at your credit report, take the information, put it into this, and you will get results. It's as simple as that. It's literally Sesame Street simple. It's called the Agero formula: action, justifier, element, reason, outcome. Let's break this down. Action is very, very simple. Delete or update or remove and correct. I don't care what you want to call it, but you need to have an action. What do you want them to do with this account? Obviously, for a charge-off, you can't fix it. You have to remove it. So we're going to say for Capital One, this charge-off, account number 517805. You don't have to put charge-off. I'm just telling you we're dealing with a charge-off. You're going to say delete this account or this bankruptcy, this inquiry, this address for inaccuracy, for violation, because, and then you're going to tell them why. Why do you think that this account should come off? This goes back to looking at all the information you have on your credit report and finding that number 1 reason, the best possible opportunity. And we can do this very simply by stating the date last paid reports this date on Experian, this date on Equifax, and this date on TransUnion. That's all you're doing. You need to support with the facts what you told them you wanted to do. You cannot simply state, remove this account because it's wrong. Remove this account because the balance is incorrect. How? Why is the balance incorrect? You can't figure that they're just going to know that the balance is incorrect because there's 3 different balances. What are those figures? What are those numbers? If you are not providing that information, then don't bother sending out your dispute letter, because lo and behold, you're probably not going to remove this from your credit report if you don't provide that information, okay? So it cannot be a general statement. It does need to include the facts. And like I said, you can use this for anything: short sales, foreclosures, bankruptcies, judgments, tax liens, late payments, inquiries, really anything. For a collection, you can say delete this account because you have no way of verifying it. You don't even have a creditor name. You don't have an account number. You obviously have no idea who's paying you to report this account, so it can't be on my credit report. You can't verify it. If you have no idea who this creditor is, then you will have 0 way to verify it. So an example of this is Equifax. Equifax is notorious for doing this. They'll put medical collection. And that's obviously not the collector's name, okay? You cannot tell me that's the collector's name. If I can't go down to where it says creditor information and find medical collection with their address, then that can't be on there. Why? If you know this, smash that like. If you don't, I'm about to tell you. You see, buried in section 623, it states that an account that could possibly be inaccurate must report an address. Why? Because you have a due process to dispute inaccurate information on your credit report. And you should not be forced to only deal with the credit bureaus. You have the right, that's what due process means. You have the right to go directly to whoever that creditor is. So if the credit bureaus are taking away your right to dispute directly with that data furnisher, then now there's a violation of section 623. Go check it out yourself, okay? You will see exactly what I'm talking about. So every single time you see a creditor name, it's normally going to be a collector that does not have the creditor name, the account number, and an address to submit a dispute directly to them. We have a violation. Speaking of violations, okay, I've already given you a bunch of stuff here, but I'm going to give you one more. If you are a subscriber, if you're part of the 38,000, or even if you're just part of the 3 million views that I have, it doesn't matter. You need to know about this. You've probably heard me say this before, but we're gonna go over this again, okay? So, how do I remove most of my accounts? Well, there's many ways that I remove accounts, but if you look at percentage-wise where my deletions normally come from, it's going to be from one violation. This one violation we talked about the other night when I went live at 3 a.m. We also talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and then we also talked about it before, and it's also down in the description as a course that you can go check out right now. It's called the Guaranteed Deletion Debt Validation Dispute Method. And it's not the regular debt validation dispute method. You see, people normally send out one letter and they're like, hey, wham, ma'am, thank you, ma'am, this is going to come off. And when it doesn't, they get all pissed off. It's way more than just one letter. It's way more than disputing directly with the collector. It's also disputing with the credit bureaus. You may, depending on what you're disputing and what type of proof they have, might have to go to small claims court. But guess what? If you do, you're going to win. And I give you all the answers, the letters, everything that you need, even to go to court, down in the description. Go check it out, even if you just want to learn about this, okay? So how does this work? Again, we're going back to section 623. All right, section 623 stipulates, and we're going to go over this again, even though we just went over this. Section 623 stipulates if you, the consumer, dispute something on your credit report, something called the notice of dispute is required to be in the comment section. Literally, I'm going to use my phone for this. Literally, if you look at your my other phone, I guess I should say. If you look at your account on your credit report, right, you see all these different lines, all these different parts of your account, and one of them is going to say comment section, right? The comment section is where they put a bunch of BS, okay? But one thing that is not BS is where it says disputed by consumer. You are the consumer, you disputed. That little comment is required to be there within 30 days from the date that they receive your letter, not from when you send it, but from when they receive it, which is why you are sending it out certified with a return receipt. Yes, I know it can be expensive, whatever. Do you want to count your pennies, or do you want to get 200 points and move on with your life and, have all the money you want, have the credit you want, have the houses and the cars and all that kind of stuff? I think you want the credit instead of worrying about spending a couple dollars sending out this mail, okay? And I say that because this is what I hear all the time. I have to pay how much for every single letter? Yeah, you do. Why? Because we need the proof. You see, this is what's considered a provable violation. What is a non-provable violation? Well, we talked about this one the other night too. Failure to respond. How are you going to prove in court in front of a judge that the credit bureaus did not respond to your dispute? I'll wait. No? Nothing? You got nothing? You're just going to say they didn't respond? Oh, but I have my certified mail that they received it, but no? No? Still nothing? Well, that's all right. That's all right. I'm going to tell you. So here's the thing that happens. You go to court. You're like, oh, I got my letters. I got my certified mail. I got my return receipt that they received it and blah, 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 but they didn't respond. But I'm just going to tell the judge that they didn't respond. And guess what? They're going to tell the judge that, yeah, according to our records here, for John Smith, from Equifax, obviously, it says that right here on July 22nd of 2023, we definitely did respond. And, because we don't send it out certified, there's no way for us to know officially that he received it, because obviously we can't send things out certified. We already have to pay over $1.5 million. Actually, I think it's like more like, I don't know, $100,000 to respond to the 1.5 million letters that we actually have to send out every single month. So it doesn't really work like that where we can, pay all that money. So unfortunately, we can't prove that he received this, but it says it right here that we sent it out, because their system is automatically going to mark it as responded to. You see, this entire situation, this whole process, this, them receiving your letter and, going through the system and the investigation, it's all automated. There's no people in this process. If you think that there's people, you have another thing coming. This is not 2008. It's not 2009. We're talking about 2024. There's 1.5 million people or more disputing with each bureau every single month. Do you really think there's a gaggle of people sitting around some table, talking about, oh, well, John's really going through a difficult time. We should probably remove this collection from his credit report, and we'll just take the hit on our end. No, there's no people. It's all machines. It's even a machine that opens up your letter and then feeds it into the system to be read and scanned by another system. It's the OCR. That's then going to take that and go through the EOSCAR system if it can. If it can't, it goes to a person who's literally going to do that same thing and turn it into a 2 to 3 digit code and send it over to the data furnisher. If you go and look at all the lawsuits where people who previously worked at the credit bureaus, or even, at that time currently worked at the credit bureaus, they all tell you the same thing. There's no investigation. We do not look into anything. We just convert this letter, this dispute reason, this disputed account, into a 2 to 3 digit code, and it goes over to whoever that data furnisher is. Okay, so stop thinking that this is one way when it's really another. All right. So if you dispute the right way, you can permanently, legally, 100% remove all of your accounts. But you need to have a way to prove that this violation or this inaccuracy actually occurred. And so that whole long-winded thing was a non-provable violation, because they will always say that they did respond, and it's nothing but a back and forth hearsay. You against them. Who do you think that the judge is going to go with? You or the credit bureaus? Unfortunately, the answer is the credit bureaus, okay? So when we're dealing with the FCRA 623A3 violation, they're going to go with you 100% of the time, because you're not going there and saying, oh, well, this debt is not mine, and they're not able to prove that it's mine, and there's no contract that shows that I ever had business with this company, and we're not going through any of that stuff. The problem is, like I said, when you dispute, there has to be that notice that you disputed. Section 623 literally states that a disputed account that is not marked as disputed within 30 days from the date that they receive your letter cannot report on your credit report. That's the only thing that matters. How can we prove this? This is really, really simple. Okay, how can we prove that they received it and that we counted those 31 days, pulled a new credit report, and that it's not there? Well, we're going to have credit report number 1 that's going to show the date, right? And then we are going to count, we're going to track the actual certified mail. We're going to have the little green-ish card that comes back with, our address on one side and their signature on the other. And we're going to count 31 days from the date that they put on there with a little stamp, right? And then now we're going to pull a new credit report. That credit report is also going to have a date on it, right? Remember, they only had 30 days, not 60, not 90, not 120, not 22, but 30. Okay, if that notice is not there on that next credit report that you just proved because you pulled it and there's a date on it, then it's a violation, okay? Now, when you write your second letter, you're gonna say, hey, wait a second, I disputed this, you received this on X date, you signed for it on Y date, my credit report number 2 from dated actually shows that this notice was not entered, which is now a violation of FCRA 623A3, and you're required to remove this from my credit report. If you don't, I have all intentions of taking legal action because it's only gonna cost me $75. You don't have to say that part, I'm just saying, okay? So this works because you can prove it. And that is exactly how you can prove it. You have report number 1, report number 2, you have certified mail 1, certified mail 2, you have return receipt 1, and you have return receipt 2, okay? If they don't remove it, you can kind of chill out and see what happens in another 30 days, or you can go straight to your county court, all right? It's completely and totally up to you. If you want to stay away from the courts, your next step would be continuing with the credit bureaus, but also with the data furnishers. And if it's a collector, it's going to be FDCPA 8078, okay? So we're not dealing with FCRA now, we're dealing with FDCPA. And you can also go to the CFPB. Now, you have to remember, and this is something that so many people get wrong, okay, so the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, they're not there to do anything other than make sure you get a response. And that's really just if they care to respond, because they're not really going to do anything about it, because they're not there to police anybody, okay? They're not going to, sue anybody. Nobody's going to get in trouble. No one's going to jail. I mean, you have to understand that this is a different type of situation. Yes, they're a government agency, but it doesn't work like that. They're not like the ATF, okay? So having said that, it is a good tool to use at your disposal to kind of force a process to happen, but you had to have already exhausted your remedies once you go there, and we talked about this the other night, okay? So if you want to know more about that part of it, go check out the live that I did the other night, same like this, with my, my little fireplace in the background and me talking to you at 3 a.m., and you will learn all about that, all right? So I've given you way more than I intended to. We've been doing this for 27 minutes and 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds. So right now, I'm going to tell you again what I started to say in the beginning, which is if you want to learn all about this, if you want all the secrets that you can possibly handle and learn literally every single thing that you would ever want to know about credit. I'm talking about going from 0 to hero. My 12 years of doing this packed into a course that literally will blow up and skyrocket your credit scores. Then check out the link down in the description, but it's really simple. It's just sendme2.co/atomic, okay? Because that is how hardcore it is. But you'll learn everything you need to know about scores, removing your negative items, building your credit, all that great jazz. And even if this is something that you want to do as a business, that is also included in there, in addition to a bunch of dispute letters so you can see exactly how to structure your letter per each different type of negative item. It also has basically everything else that I tagged down in the description in it, but for free, okay? So if you want to check that out, go do that. Go check it out right now. But because I'm only going to have it on for another 24 hours. Otherwise, you got to pay $99 for the one, $99 for the other, $67 for the other, $299 for the course by itself, yada, 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 plus another $59. Or you could just pay $169 for the whole shebang. So I'll leave that up to you, or you can watch my 1,700 videos going back virtually a decade right here on YouTube. So anywho, if lastly you want to, actually the second to last thing, if you want to see if I can personally do a credit sweep for you, the link is always the same. It is my740.com. Schedule a call with me and I'll see if I can help. Last thing that I want to talk about, because it is time for me to go hit the hay. I am going to be doing an event, and it is for a very limited quantity of people. Why? Because it's going to be where I answer your questions, okay? So there's also a minimum of people that I will be doing it for. So if we don't hit our minimum, we're not doing it. Everyone gets refunded. And if it hits our maximum, that's it. checkout closes. All right. I will probably tell you about this sometime this week. I have to figure out like the date and all that kind of stuff. But the reason that we're limiting it is very simple. There's only one of me, and if there's many of you, I cannot answer your questions, right? So the same reason that I don't put comments up on my lives is because I will be distracted and we're not going to continue talking about the thing that I initially wanted to talk about, right? Because when one person asks a question, well, now another person wants to ask a question, and then the other person wants to ask a question. And while I'm talking and answering your question, I'm also thinking about the other questions that are appearing on the screen, and I won't be able to really give you a response because I'm already on those other questions 10 ahead. You get what I'm saying? But when we're doing something very intimate for only, a specific quantity of people, then I know the exact amount of time that I have for each question, and I can answer it in depth. Okay, so if you want to check that out, just make sure that you subscribe and you check out all of my community posts, because that is exactly where we will be posting. All right. I haven't really figured out a price for it, but it's probably going to be somewhere around $99, all right? But of course, it's going to be live. It will not be at 2 a.m. It'll be somewhere in the middle of the day maybe, and we're going to be doing it for somewhere between 30 to 45 minutes, but it will be nothing other than Q&A. So if you want to know specifically how to do something, then this is going to be that thing. I also have a new video service, all right? So the same as you can get on a call with a teledentist is the same way that you can get on a call with me via video, and I will answer your questions. We have 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and 45 minutes, and a credit report review. Sometime tomorrow when I have time, I will come back and I'll post the link down in the description here. But anyways, make sure you subscribe, smash that like, subscribe if you haven't done so. I will see you later. It's already been past the 30 minutes that I wanted to end this at, but drive safely if you are driving. I hope that you didn't look at your screen if you are driving and that you were just listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth. But thank you for spending time with me. I will see you tomorrow. I will see you later, but that is it.